Intro. Today I'll be talking about Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy is a guy who made Barstool Sports, a very popular sports pop culture company. He is known to talk about mainly those topics and repost a lot of people's videos on TikTok. That's probably how you know of them, if you know of them at all, is because they just take people's videos on TikTok. I don't think they pay the people either for the videos they take, like some other places probably do. But they basically just ask permission for your video. If they can post it on their account, they'll tag you as well. And then after that, nothing else happens. So it's just kind of weird. A lot of people have refused to be a part of Barstool or let Barstool repost their stuff. I think that's kind of funny, and you'll get more into why later. Dave also has a series online that has gotten massively popular within the recent year or two that's called One Bite Review, where he reviews pizza from several different locations all across New York. But Dave is not just some pizza review guy and some guy that talks about sports. He's a degenerate hypocrite who is massively disliked online for several reasons. And today, I discuss why. If you like videos like these, make sure to like and subscribe as I make videos on locales, internet dramas, creeps, and more. You can now hype my videos again, so make sure to do that as it will help the video a lot. I feel oddly confident that Dave is the type of guy to watch a video on him if it comes up on his feed, or probably respond to it if it got into the top 100 on the hype leaderboard. Make sure to also follow my Twitter, is linked in the description below. I also have some playlists on my channel that include even more odd souls on the internet, so go check them out. If you're depressed, work, or need something to binge watch or listen to, I'm your dude. But with all that said,
let's go!
Terrible boss. One key thing about Dave, which you kinda need to know off the start, is that he is Jewish. He uses this to his full advantage in hypocritical ways all the time. A lot of the events in this video that he does completely go against his faith or are very questionable towards it, despite supposedly being a Zionist or a Jewish supremacist. So as he is the owner of Barstool, which originally started out as a quote bro culture and anti-political correct newspaper and website, this detail is more important later on to Dave's character, but he has been called out for being a bad boss, and there's been even examples of this that go further than just allegations. As the most popular example of him being a bad boss is whenever he yelled at his podcast co-host, that of course is under the Barstool name, over saying that you should be able to make Jew jokes. And here is that clip.
If you just want me to kick him out, not mention it, not care that this kid is
anti-Semitic,
shut up. If you just want me to ignore it,
don't tell me to shut up. Don't tell me.
Shut the f up, you bald.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that, Dave. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man. Don't tell. I'll tell you, you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You work for me.
Sure, you bet. For now,
oh, you
continue.
Don't? For now, quit. I don't care.
Is this show or not a show? Is this a show or not a show? We can't have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right now.
Yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many Jews have to be killed before you stop?
It's insane that he threatened to fire this dude over this and spazzes out on him in such a rude manner on these people he's probably known for years over just something as small as this, like saying that we should be able to make jokes, then turning it into a thing about Jews dying. It's just so weird to me. He also, during a time in 2019 when employees of another sport and pop culture website were trying to start a union, Dave tweeted threatening to fire any employees who would start one against him and his company. This is actually illegal, as him and his company are in New York, a union state. The New York State Department of Labor made a statement saying this: "We say no way, no how to intimidation, threats, and union busting. It is illegal to take any unfavorable action, including termination against employees for union-related activities under the National Labor Relations Act. New York is a proud union state." You also had the New York representative AOC tweet saying this: "If you're a boss tweeting firing threats to employees trying to unionize, you are likely breaking the law and can be sued, in your words, quote, on the spot. All workers in the U.S. have protected freedom to organize for better conditions. The National Labor Relations Board actually ended up investigating Dave Portnoy in 2019 for this incident of threatening to fire his workers if they unionized. And in that December, Dave Portnoy reached an informal settlement with the board, which required him to delete all the threatening tweets and remove any potential anti-union material created by Barstool Sports. The settlement also noted that the Twitter account originally encouraging employees to unionize was actually owned by Barstool in an attempt to out-labor organizers. Portnoy also released a t-shirt with his face on it that read Union Buster, which this is a repeated pattern, by the way, and you'll probably see this more often, or I might talk about it or add in because I don't know if I did. But he'll get into a drama or something, like he'll get into trouble of some sort, and then make a t-shirt or talk about making a t-shirt out of it. And it's such weird, like, behavior is so immature and childish, especially with just his face on it saying Union Buster. Like, I don't want that shirt. I don't see how, I don't know about you all, but like, I just wouldn't want that shirt. It's going to be overpriced anyway. It's probably going to be like $30, $35, $25 probably more likely, but still, why would I want to pay that just for a stupid Union Buster t-shirt with Dave Portnoy's face on it? What am I, gay? There are some other workplace moments and another moment from his podcast that we'll get into in another segment. But yes, he basically threatened to commit a crime and got in trouble for it and had to take some stuff down, which is kind of insane to think about. Degeneracy and gambling addict. To go into some early life lore, he is a degenerate in more ways than just one. Some ways we'll get more into in other segments, but to start, we'll go with his gambling addiction, which actually sent him into $59,000 of debt with credit card companies and $18,000 of debt with his dad. In 2004, he filed for bankruptcy protection. And then in 2020, the government filed to get $11,795 in unpaid taxes. There's like a little thing that they do. I guess if you have unpaid taxes, they sent him like a warning or a threat that they were going to, I think they might start possessing stuff. I can't exactly remember. You would think a man that has gone through these issues, filed for bankruptcy over gambling and gambling addiction, which he self-admittedly says that he's a degenerate gambler, all of that sending you into bankruptcy, you would really not want to be associated with such actions anymore, no matter how much money you get. Because, you know, you at one point were $77,000 in the hole and had to file for bankruptcy. This was not the case. Even in the early days of Barstool, there were advertisements in his own newspaper, because that's kind of how it started out. It started out as like a newspaper he would send around for free to the people, and then he made a website a few years later. He would actually have advertisements for gambling sites that were illegally working in the United States in his newspaper. And then later on, he makes his own brand called Barstool Sportsbook, where you could bet on there. But it got took down due to him rebuying the company after selling it, and it got dissolved into another gambling site like ESPN Bet. But he is now partnered with DraftKings and has a website called Barstool Bets, and he promotes gambling a lot, both cryptocurrency and just sports betting and stuff like that. I don't know, I think he might have like a gambling site, like not just Barstool Bets, but like one where it's like slots and stuff, I'm assuming, because people say like that he's really a bad person about this stuff. But he even said himself some really weird things like bet your wife, kids, and house, like at one point or something like that. And he said like, if you don't bet, you're stupid. Ugh, that's kind of weird. This is the same guy that went like 0-10 on like parlays in the NFL. Here's that clip.
All right, it's week 11. I have hit 0 parlays. People are like, oh, you're stealing money. Listen, I'm trying, bro. I am trying. And I bet every single one of them. So I'm living and dying with you. But I've hit 0 this season. However, I've also never been on CBS Sunday Morning until today. So maybe that's the game changer. TD passes to Sam Darnold, to Justin Herbert, to Lamar, and to Matt Stafford. 2 touchdowns plus each of them. That's the parlay. Can we get off the schneid? Can we get people, the boo birds are booing. You stink. You're bankrupting us. My wife left me. Let's get a win today. Stafford, Darnold, Herbert, Lamar. Time, literally one time.
I think there's even a rule on one of the sites, whether new or old, that you basically were forced to stop betting if you kept on winning. showing that he mainly wants people to lose and doesn't actually encourage winning. And it just shows, like, you know, the true intentions behind, you know, the website. He also does this other thing, a day trading series called, like, Davey Day Trading Global. But the reason that, you know, him doing gambling and stuff matters so much is how slimy it can be to take deals like this. I personally think sponsors from gambling sites that just do slots and stuff around that are pretty bad. I think that's kind of stupid. FaZe had an issue recently, or like one of the old or current FaZe members like did a big old betting thing, or I think maybe it was someone from 100 Thieves. They like got a sponsorship from these gambling sites, and these were like very like, you know they're making an insane amount of money. There was actually a guy that makes CS2 videos that actually said and like pointed out how much money he like rejected, like base, and then like there's also the possibility of like other money being stacked on top of that because of percentages and stuff he would get. But he like rejected millions of dollars throughout his career for CS2 betting and gambling sites. So if this guy, like if a smaller creator is getting all that money from CS2 sites, some big FaZe or 100 Thieves member is getting tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars just to sit there and like promote a gambling site. But me personally, I think sports betting, depending on what it's on, and like, you know, as long as you're not doing like weird ones and you're becoming a degenerate gambler, I don't think it's as bad. And if you do it responsibly, then sure. Because I feel like some sports, it's like valid, like, you know, whether it's MMA, football or basketball, maybe baseball, like, and, you know, in low amounts and doing it for a little bit of fun and to try to make a little bit of money, I think that's okay. It's like one of the rare times I'd actually like excuse a degenerate behavior. I don't sports gamble myself at all. I've thought about it plenty of times, but I just think that, you know, sports betting is not as bad. But they say gambling website, and I don't know if they mean exactly that. You know what I mean? I don't know if they mean like the sports betting or not. Although it is hypocritical, as he is a dude who uses faith a lot, which we'll get more into later, but then he does all this gambling stuff whenever rabbis look down upon it. They're not exactly 100% against it, but they say like, no, don't really do that. They look down upon it. He also promotes other things such as drugs, and he also promotes of girls, as he's had multiple like of girls on his podcast and stuff like that, and they interview him. And there's even more degenerate acts that we'll go more into of him being a creep. Dave Portnoy has been alleged and done several weird and degenerate actions towards women. Keep in mind this man is 48 years old at the moment. One of the more famous things he's done is a comment about grapes, to say the least. And here's that clip.
I never condone, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be.
Correct. I stand by that. I think it's a funny joke.
You think it's funny?
No, I didn't say that. I think it's a funny joke.
Do you understand how offensive that is?
No.
Which is a really crazy thing to say. I don't know if he ever took back this statement or anything, but by the way he acts, I highly doubt it. I don't know if you all could tell by some of the clips I've already shown, but he talks like that all the time. He talks like annoying, overly rude, and egotistical New Yorkers or Boston people, you know what I mean? He talks like one of those people. But yeah, the incident of him talking about grapes is one of the more famous incidences of him being weird towards women. But the dude also has like multiple and like a huge, oddly huge amount of SA allegations towards himself or misconduct. Like one woman that got interviewed after having an experience with him said that he has a grape fantasy. He also films like a lot of these women and does not tell them, and he's into some freaky stuff with like leashes and stuff, and doesn't ask the girls permission to film either. He's been rude towards women on multiple occasions, calling them the S word and the C word and making gross remarks towards them in a X-rated manner. He literally made an article titled, "Slut Reporter Drinks Cam Newton's." I'm not kidding. Like, that's a Barstool article title. He also hosted these, quote, blackout parties under the Barstool name. This was during 2011 to 2012. Like, he did this whole tour of doing blackout parties. And these were, like, close or in college campuses. And he would have been, like, 34 at the time of doing these. He said blackout didn't mean like drink till you black out, but that it had a different meaning. He also made a joke about sleeping with women that were passed out, but he made a harassment campaign against his ex-girlfriend who cheated on him, or supposedly did. He also had a, quote, guess that rack or guess that butt segment and a, quote, smoke show of the day on a sports site. On a sports website, he's talking like this and talking about this stuff. And even early on in his newspaper days, he would have the covers of his newspapers to get more attraction and viewers be like women. Like he would go and hire like models and stuff to model for his newspaper. An article says, quote, earlier this month, Elika Sadigi shared what she felt was an inappropriate clause in a contract Barstool offered her, requiring her to confirm that she would be okay in working in an environment where she might have to be exposed to, quote, nudity, X-rated scenarios, racial epithets, suggestive gestures, profanity, and references to stereotypes. She showed this off on social media, but like redacted Barstool's name in her tweet. Portnoy then, like, later on would release a video attacking Elika, and fans of Barstool and maybe even people in Barstool have continued to go after her days or weeks since that incident. He's also, like, been weird towards several female journalists, like the ESPN sportscaster Sam Ponder, who he told to stop posting pictures of her, quote, ugly kid and to, quote, sex it up and be while she hosted the college football pregame show called College Game Day. There are also egregious amounts of stories against Dave and Barstool about how they are towards women, and his response to all of this is basically, quote, that's just how we are, man, and stuff around that. Some allegations that a lawyer has had to respond to say that there's like, oh, this is not in context, this is half-truths, and stuff around that as well. But I don't think I could ever really trust a attorney defending Dave, especially whenever, like, this woman showed a lot of proof, and there's several repeated stories that all kind of say the same thing. And he responds in the same way as well, like, oh, there's no context, there's not enough context to this, oh, they're a liar, oh, they just want to see me fall, and stuff like that. There is an insane list of stuff that he has said and done to women. There is so many victims of Dave Portnoy. It is actually insane. Like, I was reading a few articles, and it just goes on and on about all this stuff he's done towards women. He also, like, tells his fans to attack anyone that doesn't like Barstool, and he with young women at his age, which, like, you know, he's in his late 40s. He's 48 right now, and he's still with women that are like 19 and like you know, maybe a little bit older. He also films them and goes too hard on them without their consent to where they start screaming and are in pain, but he ignores it. The case that I just said about filming and being too rough was back in 2021 even, so there is even recent examples of this. The thing is that it gets even worse. It's not just 19-year-olds he talks about, but he even has brought up children. The tweet that I'm about to show doesn't have context to it, so I have to give some, but even without the context, it is still a terrible tweet. And it comes from August 11th, 2011, saying, wah, it's CP. He was quoting what people were, like, criticizing him for, and says, bro is 2 years old, relax. The context of this tweet is from when Dave Portnoy made an article made on his website that showed a picture of Tom Brady's 2-year-old who was clothless. CBS Boston makes an article saying this. Barstool Sports founder David Portnoy defended a post on his website that included photos of Tom Brady's 2-year-old son on Friday. The photo posted on Boston Barstool Sports Thursday afternoon include a graphic commentary and several other photos of Benjamin Brady and his mother Giselle Bundchen, recently seen vacationing in Chile. A spokesman for the Norfolk District Attorney's Office told WBZ News Radio 1030 that they will neither confirm nor deny that an investigation into Portnoy's posting of the pictures is underway, and despite concerns raised by local advocates in an interview with WBZ News Radio 1030's Carl Stevens, Portnoy was adamant that he didn't do anything wrong. Quote, I said he had a big howitzer, whatever that means, so that is not. If you're making a connection that being X-rated, then I would look into the mirror, is what I would say, because that is not X-rated at all. Dave Portnoy told Stevens, quote, I don't know how anyone with a rational brain could say, oh, that's because I said that's X-rated. It's a Curb Your Enthusiasm joke. And I don't really know the Curb Your Enthusiasm reference. I remember it back in the day, but I just don't even know. Murphy said, quote, if we mean it, when we enact laws that say we don't want children to be exploited, especially for monetary gain, then there's a statute on the books that says this man can and should be prosecuted. Why wouldn't an elected district attorney take this case on just to make it clear that anybody else who's thinking of doing this, quote, don't you dare? Portnoy appears to have taken the controversy even further by soliciting ideas for a howitzer t-shirt. I think even with some of these situations with women, he is one to make t-shirts about the situations as well. So just imagine, right? You buy this shirt and you're like, oh, what's that shirt about? And it's like, huh, oh yeah, Dave Portnoy posted a naked 2-year-old on his website and defended it. This is what it's about. You sound like a PDF. Many have weighed in on his decision to post the pictures. Some have criticized it, others defend his post. Whoever is legit angry about this is a whack job, one supporter commented on Portnoy's site. And Dave Portnoy talks like that as well, like saying that you're a whack job or you're a nut and all this other stuff if you don't agree with them. He also attempted to file a lawsuit against a news site called Insider in 2021 over them talking about that possible SA situation that I brought up earlier. I think they also brought up some other incidences and victims as well and other allegations, but the lawsuit got dismissed in court in 2022 a few months later. Portnoy attempted to appeal the dismissal, but then he ended up dropping that as well. So he even gave up on this. Don't get me wrong, I know those are big allegations, but whenever you are like, whenever you're Dave Portnoy and you have a history of this weird stuff, it just makes you look worse. And then you gave up on your, actions. That's funny. If you say you don't like him or question his action, in his eyes, you either are a PC police or anti-Semitic. Then he either harasses you himself or gets his fan base to do so. This usually makes victims afraid to come out and speak on their experiences with a bad person. This has happened multiple times in the past with, several other YouTubers and stuff. A prime example is Minilad, where there are several victims of Minilad, but they are terrified to come out because of the backlash they could possibly receive. Pyrocynical also is another example of people being afraid to talk about it openly because they don't want to receive harassment as well. It's actually insane that people defend such huge creeps and weirdos online and, literally harass victims to the point of them leaving the internet. There's a weirdly overwhelming amount of articles and stories on this guy and him towards women. It is insane. There's workplace harassment. There was, him being. It wasn't even just online, which he talks about and has self-admitted, talked about how women should talk to him whenever trying to pick him up.
Okay, quick PSA here. I've noticed over the last 24 to 48 hours, I'm getting 1 million DMs from girls, and it's just their phone number. Phone number, nothing else. What the f*** is going on? I thought it was spam. I thought there was a virus. To the point I started asking, yes, I get 1 million DMs. What are you going to do? All right, I'm a golden brown tanned cookie. My eyes look like the sky over waterfront, Bigelow, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Deal with it. Here's the thing. I thought it was spam. So it finds out there's a girl on TikTok, Jenna Ari, who's telling girls this is how you slide into a celeb's DMs. No, it's not. I haven't responded to one of these except to make sure I'm not getting attacked by a virus. You want to slide into DM? I'll give you the truth right here from the horse's mouth. 3 things. Be very hot, don't be ugly, and say this. 2 words. Guarantee you get a response. Class dismissed.
It's both workplace harassment over the internet, as he said, and called women multiple things, like I said earlier. It is insane. Recording multiple women without their consent, which is really weird, and they get afraid and tense up during those situations. This guy's a bad guy, and it's absolutely insane. Hypocrisy. One thing that Dave has been called out for is his hypocrisy. Like I shown earlier, he talked about and spazzed out over Jew jokes and how they shouldn't be allowed. But the thing is that he made an article in 2011 titled, quote, "Wacky Christians - Digger We Get It. You celebrate Ash Wednesday, but come on, wash your face." So he makes fun of religious practices on his website and did back in 2011, and has probably said some stuff towards Christians and other religions as well since that time. And in a recent incident, someone came up to Dave Portnoy during one of his One Bite pizza reviews and did this.
I like it. Hey, you Dave Portnoy.
Not cool.
Why you come in the camera, buddy?
The kid ended up getting arrested, and Dave, ever since this happened, has been making several videos and going on interviews playing like he's a massive victim of something absolutely terrible. Even in one of these interviews, he says that he is hiring more security for himself. The people that need security are women when you go hang out with them, dude. You don't need security. You are not like a big boss. And I think said something about him not being the guy to go out and throw the first stones. But this is what he's known for. He's known for throwing the first stones and being a weirdo, being a creep, and being a bad person. I don't have the exact quote. I saw it before and I couldn't find it again. But, you know, he claims to be like this guy who doesn't attack first, and that's not the case. Here are some clips of his victim campaign.
I was asking, do you have his name? Do you have a clear picture of him? Well, before I could even identify him, the Starkville police actually beat me to it. They arrested this loser for disturbing the peace. Show him the mugshot. Nice hair, you loser. Introducing Patrick McClintock. Not to be confused with his brother, who's also been arrested a bunch of times. Real classy family. And I hope it was worth it for this kid to do this little stunt. And now this story will follow this piece of shit everywhere he goes. I assume he's going to get booted out of school, deserves it. And every time he applies for a job, they're going to go, oh, so you're an anti-Semitic piece of shit. So like I said, I hope it was worth it.
So basically, I can't actually show you any of these clips I get from the interviews because they're on actual news sources that are copyright claimed. So that's unfortunate.
And I think a lot of people...
Nope, I can't do that. Can't do that at all. Yeah, this is just amazing. But basically, he just talks about how these jokes are not okay and stuff. Like, these are like hate and stuff like that. Saying making jokes that you're trying to hurt people's feelings with and are based in hate, that's never flown with us. A direct one from, I don't know, some news source. And that's just not true. He's a guy that spread hate and a lot of it. And there's just a bunch of them where he plays victim. And there should be at least one I can show, but this is ridiculous, bro. But this is hypocritical as well, as he says we shouldn't make jokes about his people, but then wants to make jokes about grape, race, religion, and women, and other jokes. But whenever someone comes up to him and makes a joke about him and his religion, and just throws pennies or like some change at his feet, this guy suddenly needs to be in prison and struggle to find a job for the rest of his life. The guy that claims to be anti-political correct, then when someone was not politically correct towards him, they are suddenly like evil and a terrible person deserving to be arrested. It's hypocritical. Dave, don't you have like a whole laundry list of repeated X-rated allegations and said very harsh things towards women in person and online on multiple different occasions? He literally called for the death of Greta Thunberg in that podcast, the same one they said you can't make jokes about his people. If you don't know, Greta Thunberg is an annoying Swedish activist that looks like a child and acts like one too. Just might be Dave Portnoy's type, to be honest. Maybe he's just trying to have hate sex with her. I don't know. But me personally, I don't like, Greta Thunberg. She's been arrested multiple times for being a nuisance. She embarrasses herself all the time and is really annoying. But I'm not going to wish that she gets hit by a missile like you did. Here's that clip.
So we can do unnamed. You can be live in
jump
Gaza.
I'll jump on Greta Van Thorsten or whatever that girl. She's sailing there, like whoever that. And I hope they hit a missile on her boat.
Well, I hope
They hit a missile.
He got caught using the N-word one time, or like on a few occasions, and whenever this happened, he made a whole podcast episode using the N-word as an acronym. He refused to apologize for most, if not everything he has done, especially if there's no legal case for it. If there's like a legal thing, then he'll like be forced to apologize, or he'll like forcefully be like, yeah, whatever, yeah, whatever, and it'll be like a really like lawyer made or really HR department made like response to something. Some people didn't even know that Dave was Jewish and hated him before that. It's because he's such a bad representation of the religion and only pulls out those cards whenever it can help him most. Imagine calling someone an anti-Semite because they don't agree with you and then they go, wait, you're Jewish?
I didn't know you were Jewish.
He is so incredibly sensitive and a prime example of throwing stones from a glass house. If Dave wants to call me an anti-Semite or a PC police because I don't like him and, criticize him, can I at least choose what label I get? End. But that is all I got for now. Dave has been talked about a lot recently, so I thought I would make a video on him, because he's been a talking point online before, and people just don't really like him in general, and I didn't know what all he had done, and why people hate him so bad until, I did my research on him, and it just got worse and worse. The more research I did, and it was absolutely, insane. I don't think this video will do justice about talking about like how many women have came out against Dave Portnoy. It is insane, and this dude still has a platform. He has been very aggressive towards the people, his co-hosts, co-workers, women in general, and still has a platform on every social media. But whenever other people just want to be themselves, it's not okay. Whenever other people want to be themselves, they get canceled, they lose money, they lose their platforms and stuff. So it's just kind of weird to me that Dave gets to keep his for being a woman, like, harasser and stuff like that, but if someone else does something small like throw pennies at your feet, you get arrested and you're going to struggle to find a job for the rest of your life. It's just so strange to me. Then he went on, of course, to be a hypocrite of his faith and only using it whenever it helps him, like how the Getchell family does and like a lot of other weirdos do, or people that are obviously in the wrong. They'll like play the religious card once it like comes in handy, but never like be open about it or anything else. Like they'll also be cussing up storms and do all these unholy actions and stuff like that, for lack of a better term. Yeah, if you don't know who the Getchell family is, make sure to go check out the playlist on them. It's in the playlist section on my channel, and it's kind of wild. It's labeled the creepy TikTok family. But let me know what you all think about this video in the comments down below, and what you all think of Dave Portnoy in the comments down below. There might be more that I missed, and if that's the case, then comment down below what I missed, because like, you know, I want to know everything. If I make a video in support of someone and they did something bad, then I might make a video on them, like, against them, you know. There's just times where, you know, I'm doing my research and I miss something because it's kind of more of, like, a small topic or, like, a small detail that I miss that's kind of huge and stuff like that, like I try to bring up in my videos. So if there is more, then let me know. This video was kind of overwhelming to make with how much was said about him and what he did towards women. Like, I was just, like shocked about all of this. But thank you all for the support. Share this with your political people so they have something to talk about at the Thanksgiving table. Make sure to like and subscribe as well. Use YouTube's new hype feature on this video, as it will help a lot. Follow my Twitter, is linked in the description below. And in the end, I'm PERK30, and keep God close.